Initially, we will have a short discussion or a revision of what we have covered last lecture. So we have started with third topic, that is quinolones and fluoroquinolones. I will share the screen now. Important points, I will just revise for first 5 minutes. Now here I have told you two types of drugs are there. First, earlier introduced were quinolones and then introduced were fluoroquinolones. Now quinolones were introduced in 1960s where there was no drug particularly for gram-negative bacterial infections. Now, since these gram-negative bacterial infections were rising that time, around 1965, nalidixic acid was found to be effective at that time. Now, once nalidixic acid was found, it was found that nalidixic acid was effective for gram-negative, but it was having certain limitations. Now, before going for limitations, I will just brush up the mechanism of action. So, what is the mechanism of action of this uh, quinolones? That is nalidixic acid. It is bactericidal and it inhibits bacterial enzyme DNA gyrase, interfere with DNA strand cutting and resealing in the manner shown here. Now, here, when we see that the DNA gyrase have two sites, site A, site B. Basically, it binds to site A, and which is mainly responsible for cutting and resealing of the DNA strand. So what happens? This in normal bacteria, this cutting and resealing of DNA strand is necessary to prevent excessive supercoiling, because this cutting and resealing is introducing negative supercoiling as shown in figure 2 and 3 strands. So what happens here is, since it binds to site A, it is responsible for inhibition of the regular process of negative supercoiling. As a result, DNA strand is breaking. And because of this, DNA is an important aspect of overall bacterial life cycle. What happens is, there is no possibility of survival of bacteria, so bactericidal action takes place. Why I have revised mechanism? Because the same mechanism is applicable to fluoroquinolones. Now we have seen pharmacokinetics. What is important is limitations of nalidixic acid. The limitations are, it is limited to urinary and GIT infections. It has a low potency, that is only covering gram negative. It has limited entry to the blood and tissue levels. It shows limited spectrum of action, and bacterial resistance chances are very high. Because of this, at that time it was need to update the quinolones. So this updation took place in the form of addition of fluorine groups at various positions along with addition of piperazine substitution. So this changes, whatever compounds were produced by bringing about these changes, they are called as fluoroquinolones. So fluoroquinolones developed in 1980s and 1990s, at current date, they are highly effective drugs used for various infections. Now here, first generation fluoroquinolones and second generation fluoroquinolones. So in first generation, one fluorine group was added to the to the quinolone groups, and in second generation, two groups were added to the quinolone groups. So the differences, they are having certain differences as far as pharmacokinetics has concerned, or as far as you can say the potency has been concerned. Mechanism of action remains same. Remember, mechanism of action remains same, but there is changes in the potency as well as changes in the pharmacokinetics. I request all of you to please join the meeting at time. It is continuously disturbing to admit everyone during the meeting. So this time I am allowing, next time I will not allow after 5 minutes. Please make a note of this, students. Now here, what are the advantages or whatever the limitations of quinolones we have seen, they are overcome by addition of two fluorine groups and piperazine ring. Basically, fluorine groups important. So what are the advantages? Whatever the low potency of quinolone compounds were there, it was overcome, and the compounds fluoroquinolones is having high potency. They are having extended spectrum because besides gram negative, they are also including gram positive bacteria. Slow development of resistance is there. Better tissue penetration, as earlier we have seen in quinolones, the tissue penetration was limited. It has good tolerability, and it is exhibiting longer, these compounds are exhibiting longer plasma half-life, which is responsible for providing metabolic stability, an important aspect in the pharmacokinetics of the drug. With this, we have covered both the classes. First generation include, examples I have shown, prototype compound is ciprofloxacin. Second generation fluoroquinolones, sparfloxacin, gatifloxacin, which you find in current practice, all the drugs. Now, again here, revision, mechanism of action, same mechanism what we have discussed earlier, that is, it is responsible for preventive excessive positive, so it is responsible for cutting of DNA strand. So why cutting of DNA strand? Because it binds to subunit A with high affinity and interfere with strand cutting and resealing. Why strand cutting and resealing is needed? Strand cutting and resealing is needed for introducing proper negative supercoiling so that the balanced coiling will be there. It is spring-like structure. So proper coiling is necessary for proper functioning. There is change in this coiling mechanism because fluoroquinolones binds to A subunit and interfere with cutting and resealing function. Therefore, there is breaking of DNA strand, bactericidal action exhibits. The why fluoroquinolones are toxic to human, toxic to bacteria, and they are sparing humans. We can easily take the drug without having much toxicity. This is because in gram negative, whatever the bacteria is there, whether it is gram negative or gram positive, it is having two types of enzymes. They are DNA gyrase and topoisomerase 4. DNA gyrase is present in gram negative bacteria, whereas topoisomerase 4 is present in gram positive bacteria. Both the enzymes, whatever the enzymes I have mentioned, they are having certain structural similarity. In mammal, that means in human, the enzyme present is called as topoisomerase 2, which is having different structure than that of topoisomerase 4 as well as DNA gyrase. That's why whatever they are, the binding to site A and then disturbing the cutting and resealing function, that is not applicable in human. Second thing is, as I told you, one of the important aspect of mechanism of action is these drugs bind to DNA gyrase or topoisomerase 4 with very high affinity. In human, it is not the case. They bind or they have very low affinity for topoisomerase 2. Both these reasons are responsible for making the drugs to be used or they are safe in human, whereas they are bactericidal or highly toxic to bacteria. So remember the sensitivity. Resistance, I have told you, the resistance is resistant bacteria start producing DNA gyrase or topoisomerase 4 with reduced affinity, first reason. And second, in certain bacteria, they develop the mechanism because of which fluoroquinolone, whatever the human is administering, it is not able to reach to the target site of DNA gyrase or topoisomerase 4 because bacteria develop reduced permeability or there is increased efflux of these drugs. Coming to this topic, that is, we have covered this. I have just revised because it is necessary. Now, whatever afterwards we are going to discuss the compounds, we are just comparing with prototype compound. So first we will discuss prototype compound, ciprofloxacin. It is the most potent first generation fluoroquinolones. Girls, I just want to know whether we have covered ciprofloxacin last time. Anyone? We have covered ciprofloxacin. Huh?
Yes, ma'am.
We
Yes,
have
ma'am.
covered. Okay, so I will just go ahead. So ciprofloxacin we have covered. In that, I tell you the important points of ciprofloxacin is it is mainly effective for aerobic bacilli. Gram-positive bacteria are also inhibited. Most important is it is active against many beta-lactam and aminoglycoside resistant bacteria. It has low frequency of resistance and it has rapid bactericidal activity with high potency. Now, since we have covered ciprofloxacin, we will just go to the other compounds where we have to compare the compounds with ciprofloxacin. I hope you are understanding. Now here, the first compound other than ciprofloxacin is norfloxacin. We will see the characteristics as compared to ciprofloxacin. So this compound is less potent, that means less effective in its bactericidal action against the microbes as compared to ciprofloxacin. Ciprofloxacin was effective against Pseudomonas and gram-positive organisms at high concentration, but this compound is not effective at that concentration also for Pseudomonas and gram-positive organisms. So it is only effective against gram-negative organisms. Achievement of or penetration of this drug in various tissues is less as compared to ciprofloxacin. Excreted unchanged in urine, similar to ciprofloxacin by glomerular filtration as well as tubular secretion. It is used for urinary and GI tract infections. Particularly, it is used for bacterial diarrheas as high concentration of this drug is present in gut. So it do not disturb, one of the major characteristic is it do not disturb anaerobic flora, and with that characteristic it is effective in bacterial diarrheas. So this is mainly useful for maintaining the whatever the regular bacterial flora, GI flora is there. Why this is important? Because certain drugs, when they are acting on bacterial diarrhea or dysentery, what happens? They also act on our regular bacterial flora in GIT. That results in another infections associated with it. Those infections are called as super infections. Note down the term super infections. Super infections means you are treating one of the infection for which the drug has been taken, but the drug is causing another infection due to suppression of regular bacterial flora. So this drug has the advantage that it is not causing any such super infection. However, it is not recommended for respiratory and other systemic infections for which ciprofloxacin was there because it is not effective for gram-positive cocci. Another compound is p-floxacin. P-floxacin is a methyl derivative of norfloxacin. It is completely absorbed orally. That is the advantage of this drug. Because of its high lipid solubility, it penetrates tissue, attains higher plasma concentration in cerebrospinal fluid. Because of this, this drug is preferred for meningeal infections. Now, this drug is partly metabolized to norfloxacin. Now, we have seen earlier norfloxacin. So, the drug is partly metabolized to norfloxacin. So, all other effects are because of norfloxacin, the compound responsible for its activity. It exhibits longer plasma half-life. It accumulates on repetitive administration or repetitive dosing and achieves plasma concentration twice as high after a single dose. It is alternative to ciprofloxacin for typhoid, urinary tract infection, GI infection, and many systemic infections only because of cumulative dose effect. If you remember, Norfloxacin we have seen earlier that was not effective for majority of the systemic infections, but this drug, because of its cumulative dose effect, it is useful for many systemic infections. It is less effective in gram-positive coccal and Listeria infections. Another compound is ofloxacin. Ofloxacin, advantage of ofloxacin is food does not interfere with its absorption. We have earlier covered in case of fluoroquinolones, food generally interfere with the absorption. So you have to keep a margin of 30 minutes minimum between food, either take earlier or afterwards, but keep the margin of 30 minutes. That is not needed in case of ofloxacin. It is excreted largely unchanged in urine. Dose needs to be reduced in renal failure. There is inhibition of theophylline metabolism, but that inhibition is less marked as compared to earlier fluoroquinolones. It is comparable to Cipro in the therapy of systemic and mixed infections, and it is particularly suitable for chronic bronchitis and other respiratory or ENT infections, gonorrhea, as well as non-gonococcal urethritis. Now, another compound, levofloxacin. The characteristic, now we are starting with second generation fluoroquinolones. Again, I repeat, first generation fluoroquinolones developed in 1980s with addition of one fluorine group. Second generation fluoroquinolones developed in 1990s with addition of second fluoro group. Now it is the compound of second generation. It is the levoisomer of ofloxacin. It has improved activity against some of the bacteria, that is streptococcal pneumoniae and some other gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria. Anaerobes are moderately susceptible. Oral bioavailability is nearly 100%. Oral and IV doses are similar. It is excreted unchanged and shows slower elimination. Single daily dose is sufficient for treating the infections. Continuing with that, the primary indication of levofloxacin is for community acquired pneumonia and chronic bronchitis complications. It has advantage that it shows high cure rate in above conditions. Besides that, in sinusitis, enteric fevers, pyelonephritis, and skin or soft tissue infections, it has shown highly effective drug. Another second generation fluoroquinolone is lomifloxacin. It is equivalent to ciprofloxacin, however, more active against some of the gram-negative bacteria and chlamydia. It is suitable for single daily administration. This is because it exhibits longer plasma half-life and it shows high persistence in tissues. It is excreted and changed in urine. Dose needs to be reduced in renal insufficiency. However, like other fluoroquinolones, what we have discussed in general pharmacology, it is showing drug interactions with warfarin. It inhibits the metabolism and therefore warfarin level increases, indicating the toxicity of warfarin. Characteristics of this drug. It is second generation. It shows enhanced activity against gram-positive. I have indicated few of the gram-positive. Major indications include pneumonia, exacerbations of chronic bronchitis, sinusitis, and other ENT infections. It shows good efficacy in tuberculosis and resistant cases in patients of AIDS and in leprosy. Now, other characteristic used for chlamydial infections, higher incidence of phototoxic reactions. Recipient should be cautioned not to go in sunlight, prolongation of QT interval, and should be avoided in patients taking few of the drugs including antidepressants, phenothiazines. Now, gatifloxacin, it is second generation fluoroquinolone. It has greater affinity for topoisomerase 4 Therefore, it may be responsible for improved activity against gram-positive cocci. It is also responsible for inhibition of M. tuberculosis. Its major indication is pneumonia, chronic bronchitis, and besides these two, other upper and lower respiratory tract infections. Adverse effects, tachycardia, phototoxicity, contraindicated in hypokalemia. Do you know the meaning of hypokalemia? Hypokalemia means when the level of potassium in blood is reduced. So potassium level is highly important for maintaining the normal rhythm. Changes in the potassium level is related to arrhythmia. Now, here we are ending with the topics what we have started, that is quinolones as well as fluoroquinolones. I will just